Hi everyone, welcome to our second in a series of Making Of videos. We've already gone through Stronghold 2 in relation to the Steam edition, which is coming out on October 5th, but now we're going to travel back in time to the land of 4x3 monitors and sprite graphics with Paul Harris and Simon Bradbury to talk about the original Stronghold and the making of. So, launching into the first question, why Stronghold?
Why Stronghold? Well, we love medieval stuff, right? I mean, Paul loves medieval stuff. I love medieval stuff. Eric likes medieval stuff. I mean, we've been working at Impressions, or for Impressions, doing city builders, Caesar games, Lords of the Realm, medieval game, and we just thought, oh, there isn't a game that kind of does both, like city builder, medieval, RTS, Stronghold. So at that point, we just kind of said, right, let's go off and set our own company up and make Stronghold, which was a combination of those two genres, really, because Stronghold really is a combination of an RTS and a builder, really, at its heart.
So was it a big decision moving to your own company after how many years at Impressions? Were you scared?
No, well, I always worked freelance prior to setting up Firefly. I worked freelance for Impressions, so I've never had a proper job, you know, and so I still don't. As a lot of people would say. Eric, obviously, it was a big decision for him. I mean, like when I set it up with Eric, and he worked in America. He actually moved over to the UK for 4 years. Him and his family had 2 kids here. His kids started getting British accents. You know, he was like getting really worried. So eventually he did go back. But for Eric, I think more than for me, I think it was a scarier step.
What was your initial inspiration for starting the series in terms of games that you had worked on yourself and also other games at the time that inspired you to make something like Stronghold?
I mean, really, from the city builder side, I think kind of Caesar was the game that I'd worked on, kind of helped design and coded it, and we wanted to make something that had that level of detail, but in the medieval period. And then we were going to throw some kind of RTS on that. I mean, I loved Age of Empires, which was out kind of round about the same sort of time. We'd been playing Command and Conquer, obviously. So we wanted to bring those games into a city builder and set it in the medieval setting.
So I was thinking a medieval setting is very key, as in, I always look at it as all the kind of times in history. I think it's one of those times that everybody has an interest in, and it's very easy to get, it's kind of like, castles, catapults, soldiers, all the classic films, like, sword fighting and archers and everything. It's very, it's really something everybody's interested in, even, from a child up to, when you're an adult, you don't lose interest in that kind of time period.
Yeah, I mean, medieval period's funny, right? I mean, it's people getting, dunked into water or burned, that kind of, I mean, it's hilarious. And people used to live in kind of squalor, and then they used to go and fight each other to get more bits of squalor and all that kind of thing.
From a development sort of production point of view, were there any particular difficulties you encountered in the production of the game as a fairly small sort of indie, I guess, studio at the time?
I mean, Stronghold was our first title as Firefly, so obviously we were just geared up to make that one title. Everyone was focused on it. It's the classic first indie game where you've got all, every design decision is yours. You haven't got other things to kind of like to think about. So you're very focused, and it's our first game. So there's we've got loads of ideas. I guess the main problem was just not putting every idea in, which we failed at, and we did put every idea in, including the fire system, which we put in with like a week to go. We suddenly decided, let's put the fire system in with a week to go, which was crazy. No sane production team would do that. Take from that what you will. But yeah, I mean, we threw it all in. We put a lot of passion into it. It was the classic first game for an indie dev.
What were the other sort of last kind of later decisions that went in? Was the good and bad system?
Good Lord, bad Lord was kind of a late end thing. We decided that was another area of medieval life. We thought we could add that in as a simulation as well. There was lots of stuff, things like tree regrowth. We wanted to have a system where it would spread seed and little saplings would come up and grow, and different trees would spread at different rates. We really didn't need that.
I guess the next question would be, how has the marketplace changed between sort of 1999, 2001 and now, in terms of, you know, in development, in terms of publishers, the size of those publishers that you work with, you know, how you could achieve success by working with the right people? Because obviously with Stronghold it was Take-Two eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it's changed tremendously, obviously. I think at the time it was big publishers and there was really no way of self-publishing at all. You know, you had to have someone that could put it in a box, put it in a van and get it into a store somewhere. Otherwise, you know, you weren't selling anything. Interestingly though, actually when we signed Stronghold 1, we signed it with a gathering of developers who were probably the big, if not the only, kind of indie publisher around at the time in '99. I mean, they were the original incarnation of what is now Devolver. Same guys running it, and so we signed essentially with a kind of early version of Devolver at the time, and then they got bought out by Take-Two. So we got, you know, signed up with a really kind of supportive team, and then we actually got distribution from a really big publisher. So we kind of got the best of both worlds in that respect. So we kind of
retained ownership of the IP.
Yeah, exactly. That was, you know, I think that's, which is what you'd expect now, but in those days, to maintain, as a new studio, to maintain ownership of the IP, that was not heard of. Yeah.
But the timing was quite interesting because it was towards, you know, it's hard to imagine now, but it was kind of just before 3D really started taking off, wasn't it? So
yeah,
everything was still pretty much 2D, apart from, you know, some early, it's like Half-Life 1 and stuff was coming out and things, you know, around that time. So, but, you know, very much all, you know, strategy games were still 2D.
It was, but we also, I mean, like nowadays, a lot of indie stuff is 2D, right? I mean, and it's easier and quicker to make. And that was still our theory back then. We didn't want to make the move to 3D, certainly at that time, because we were always about we are still always about gameplay, and we like, you know, we're not about doing cutting edge graphics. You know, we're about doing graphics that are good and immersive and give you atmosphere, but it's the game, you know, is what we've always kind of really wanted to drill down to. So yeah, I mean that was
come full circle.
It has come full circle.
Yeah, it's come back, isn't it, in 2Ds now?
Which is great. I mean, you know, which is exactly what I would, you know, do if I was. I mean, it's easier now in some ways with tools like Unity and things to kind of bring something out 3D stuff, but there's still a lot of investment in the. If you're not buying, you know, pre-done stuff, there's a lot of investment in the art.
Yeah.
Was there a moment at which you realised that you had a brand, a series, rather than just an individual game, and something that could potentially span what is now, you know, 16, 17 years?
No, not during the production of it, to be honest. I mean, it wasn't until it actually came out and was a success, and probably not even then. Not until we'd probably, you know, it takes several games before we go, oh, actually we've got a brand, you know, because we're just not that sharp in that respect.
As you were making Crusader, when you released Crusader?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, but we were never really focused on that. We were never really focused on creating a brand. If we were more clever in that respect, probably we would have been. But I think
you've created a brand anyway.
We have, yeah, by accident. But I think that at the time, you know, I think it kind of dawned on us when it was successful, I suppose, that we got a great thing. And so at that point, we were looking then to go and sell the sequel, Stronghold 2, to a publisher. So we knew we got a good shot at selling the sequel. I guess that's what when you realise you got a brand. But in a way, actually, it was actually Take-Two that kind of like pushed us a little bit into doing the expansion, as they called it, which was Crusader. And we kind of went, well, actually, we don't want to do an expansion. We want to kind of do something a bit different. You know, we're not interested in just doing expansion. We want to, you know, extend the gameplay of the original, which is what we did with Crusader. But again, that wasn't even us. That was the publisher pushing us down that route.
I think the Stronghold name is quite a good, you know, it's quite a strong brand name. You know, in retrospect, you look at it and it's a good brand name.
Would you say it has a strong hold on people?
Oh.
Let's think about that.
It's definitely a good name, and it was a tricky one to trademark, to be honest, as well, because we obviously had to go through that route, and that's a whole different set of skills, you know, and a set of expense that we went through. But you can't, you know, it's like a single word that can describe all sorts of things. So we've got to, you know, we haven't got the trademark on, for example, hairspray. or anything.
So we can't do
Don't say-
Stronghold hairspray.
Luckily, with our marketing guy.
Yeah.
Were there any other names you considered? Can you remember any? Well, sorry.
Well, I mean, we obviously we would have liked to have called it Castles, but obviously Interplay had got Castles, so that one no. But I mean, really, I think Strongholds was. It was right as soon as I think it was Eric's name actually, and as soon as he said it, we just went great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a good sign, isn't it?
It is a good sign.
And last question: where do you see the series heading in the future?
We're going to stop at Stronghold 56. No, I mean,
Technically, we're already at Stronghold like 7, or you count the sequels.
Still quite a few to go.
So we've got another.
no, I mean, I think it's what we wanted to be able to do though is add. I think we've realised now. I think we've kind of gone through Stronghold 1, Crusader, Stronghold 2, Legends. Stronghold 3 went a bit kind of darker. I think what we want to look to do is to kind of gradually evolve the series a little, push it a little bit in certain directions. What you really can't do is go and rewrite the whole thing from scratch, because then you're just killing what made it really cool in the first place. You want to add something that really does extend the game without, and obviously there's always scope to kind of make something that plays that little bit kind of better, and it's a little bit more of a smoother experience. And I think we are getting there with that. Actually, we're kind of maturing, I think, in our approach to kind of building the next Stronghold, and I think things will get more polished as we go on.
Yeah, making it feel very Strongholdy, which is it's kind of recreating that Stronghold feel.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get your head around what is the essence of Stronghold in a way. I think you can't, even 2 games you still don't really know it. It's something that really only comes with time, which is obviously not great, but you need 10 years to spare.
Does that mean potentially a return to the more sort of sim gameplay side of things found in the original Stronghold? Obviously, with Stronghold 2 coming out soon, there's going to be a bit more of a focus on that again. Yeah,
I mean, I think we really like the sim side of things, we like the city builder side, so we're always looking to try and tighten up, to make the RTS side play better, smoother, more bug free, just be more effortless. But at the same time, we've still got that hankering to get the sim side in there, because that's really, that's really cool. I really like a lot of those city building games, and just seeing a city come to life it's just fun. I like just playing the game, where it just, ultimately, there's lots you could do. There's lots of areas we haven't really covered.
Yeah.
Whole drunkard system, for example. That'd be good.
Great stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Stronghold content every Thursday on Firefly Studios YouTube, and head over to Steam on October 5th for the release of Stronghold 2 Steam Edition, which is free if you already own the game, and if not, you gotta pay us. Sorry. Why'd you laugh? That was good. That would have worked.
It's still workable.